mind that. What was that?
Hi!
Who are you?
BARFF!
Not in here, mister. This is a Mercedes.
Nah, that's my name. BARFF!
BARFF? What are you?
And here we go, BARFF Fantasy Football Podcast, Season 5, Episode 1. Anyone that's out there in live land wants to let me know if you can actually hear this, that would be terrific, because the odds after what we've just gone through with setup for tonight are a little bit low.
Yeah.
But I'm Brian the Commish. I'm joined here in the BARFF Studio Podcast by the hardest working man in show business and owner born to run. Walt is here. Walt, how are you?
I'm doing great. It's great to be back in the studio for another exciting season. And our podcast is now what? In our
Season 5.
Season 5.
5
wow.
seasons.
How about that, huh?
We've got to up our game. There's
yeah.
no doubt. And we'll talk about what this upcoming season is going to bring us as we move forward. We've got a lot to talk about tonight. We've got to talk about the 2024 draft. We've got to talk about Week 1 action already in the books. Season seems to be flying by already. Makes me a little sad. But let's see what we got. We're going to talk about some upcoming things that we want to do on the pod, some participation from our owners.
Yep.
And we'll be taking the pod on the road, although the technical issues that we've had here at home make me a little bit hesitant. We're going to be doing that several times this year to equal out some travel. So, Walt, what do you want to do? We got the draft and we've got Week 1. Where do you want to start?
Well, let's look at the draft and see, kind of how we feel, how our teams did. I know we looked at some draft grades right when the draft completed.
We did.
Yeah,
we did. All right. So let me call this up. The first 10 picks in the draft are typically predictable, but it's the order. I mean, it's really the order. And I can tell you that heading in, I did not see the first pick going where it did. And what did you think?
No, I think. Well, of course, I had some insider information. So I was pretty.
That's true. That's
I was pretty certain that Tyler was going to take McCaffrey. So that was really no surprise to me whatsoever on that.
All right. So he takes McCaffrey. I would have said there was no way he was going to take McCaffrey. I thought he was going CD all day long.
Yeah.
And so Brees Hall comes off the board to me because I don't have the courage to take Saquon Barkley, and here comes Huey Lewis in the news.
Yeah, and
taking Saquon Barkley.
But I will say, I thought for a second that you could tell me if you had actually considered it. Was that CD or Ty? Well, I knew CD because you would never take a Cowboy. But was Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek Hill was
on your radar.
He was on my radar.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no doubt. I wasn't taking Bijan Robinson at all.
Right.
But Saquon was a little there. Between Saquon and CD, I got to choose between an Eagle and a Cowboy. And to me, that's pretty
rough.
brutal.
Yeah, it is actually.
And the rest of those rounds, I was just swinging for the fences. I think Brees Hall has the potential this year. But we'll
he looked great, in the first game, even though the offense was pitiful. But I like what I saw out of him.
Nice.
I think it's going to be a really, really nice pick.
Yeah.
And of course, Barkley for Huey looked pretty phenomenal too.
Yeah.
Although I'm not sold on that one
altogether. I knew Saquon Barkley was going to have an amazing Week 1. He was going to come out fired up there traveling, and he was just going to go blow up. I knew that. I knew it was going to make me regret not drafting him for that 1 week. But then you got the couple weeks after that I worry about.
Absolutely. And then you also have 2 times he matches up against the Cowboys, whose defense looked pretty good. And then after that, I got to think everybody, me was a no-brainer taking CD.
Yes,
I took him,
no doubt,
which was great because it's nice watching someone on your team who's really good on top of it. So I was happy, with him Week 1 for sure.
Yeah.
And then Tyreek, no surprise there. Jordan getting Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah.
Who was surprised by that?
Not
Jordan had him every single year.
Yeah, absolutely. That was a gimme. He was going home to Soarin Eagles.
Right.
Yeah. And then no lineup gets Bijan Robinson at 7, which ADP for Bijan was always top 3, as we saw.
Yeah.
So is this a bargain for no lineup? Or
well, it's funny because honestly, I'd have taken Jefferson. I think the real bargain was Jefferson after him.
Okay.
And Week 1, Sam Darnold, I don't think he's a horrible quarterback. So
No, he's got different circumstances.
right,
So we'll see.
and if you think about that, it's hard to believe that Jefferson got devalued that much.
Right.
It wasn't like if J.J. McCarthy was in there, maybe that would have been different if he would have been starting.
Yeah,
Right? Yep.
yeah. That there could be there's a lot of nuance with this team now. I actually think they're better off with Sam Darnold right now.
Oh, I
than
totally
for
agree with
J.J.
you.
McCarthy.
100%.
So that
100%.
increases Justin Jefferson's value to me.
Yep. So that to me, Bijan. Hey, I mean, I drafted him last year. He broke my heart, so there was no way. But I like, both those picks. I think were really solid.
Yeah.
And then let's see, who did we have? Jonathan Taylor, right? Was the rifle next?
Jonathan Taylor goes after Justin Jefferson. We're going to be joined on the line by the owner of Worst Team Ever. Tyler's on the line. Tyler, can you hear us?
I can. How we doing?
Nice.
Good.
Good, Ty. We're talking about round one of the draft. We brought up how I was skeptical that you were going to take McCaffrey, but you did. And now we're talking about Springfield Rifle drafting Jonathan Taylor, number 9. Jonathan Taylor, is this a pick we're going to be talking about later in the year for the good or the bad of the rifle?
I just, he's another guy that just never seems to stay healthy. It's hard for me to pick someone that I'm worried about that's going to get hurt.
Sure.
I mean, it's good value. I mean, 2 years ago, right? Wasn't he like the number 1 overall pick?
Yeah.
So it's hard to fault the rifle.
A lot of injury problems, etc.
Yep.
But we'll see. Ty, what do you think about Jonathan Taylor falling to number 9? Did he fall to number 9, or was he overdrafted at number 9? Oh boy.
Oh.
Stand by. What do we got here? Oh, hold on. Ty, this could be a commish issue.
Or
we're in the bunker, and I think that I think I'm suffering down here. I put a booster for the internet, but there's not a lot I can do with cell reception. We're gonna have to do something about that. Yeah, Ty, I can't hear you. Hold on.
What about now?
There you go. There you are. You're loud and proud now. What do you think about Jonathan Taylor?
Oh.
Damn it, Ty! If you're moving, stop. Don't walk around.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is tough. We had you loud and proud there, Tyler. So, Springfield Rifle, hopefully we can get Ty back. Gets Jonathan Taylor at number 9. A.J. Brown closes out the round 2. Boston Beans at number 10. And then he gets the double pick. A.J. Brown and Jamar Chase.
I love those two picks.
Right?
Yeah, that was pretty sweet.
What a good feeling that's going
to
be.
I tell you, I thought the Beans did a really good job taking those two guys for sure. And then round 2, this is unfortunate. Rifle already lost a guy to Puka.
Yeah.
He's going to be on IR, so that's unfortunate. I did like the pick at the time.
Yeah, I don't think that you can walk away from rounds 1 and 2, even though Jonathan Taylor's been a little bit of a question mark in recent years. But Taylor and Puka Nacua coming out in round 1 and round 2, you got to feel good about that.
No, definitely. And then Gibbs, and so all these other picks, I kind of feel fell in line where they were drafted. Just looking at round 2, the only one, and hopefully we get Tyler back. The guy I wasn't sold on was Davante Adams.
Yeah, I'm a big Davante Adams fan. I'm going to tell him to try again. He said that we kept cutting out, but we'll see. We'll give it a shot. I'd love to see Ty come back. Davante Adams, I'm a huge fan of, but boy, the draft prognosticators do not love the situation in Las Vegas.
Yes, the quarterback, and especially after I watched Week 1, it did not look good at all. I don't know if O'Connell is going to be, come off the bench now.
I think he's kind of got it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, Ty, hopefully you can hear us now. Are you hearing us? Are we cutting in and out?
I got you now.
All right. So we're in round 2 now. The Davante Adams pick. How do you feel about that pick after Week 1?
It's tough to judge anything, off of Week 1.
True.
My round 2-3 turn there, Marvin Harrison and him. Okay, he gets 1 target from Kyler Murray. Davante Adams, only has a 10-point.
Yeah, you cut out again, but I'll say this: Marvin Harrison, though. Murray overthrew him on, I think it would have been like a 16-point play. So I'm not too worried about, although he had a stinker of week one. I think Harrison Jr., just give him a few more weeks when they start cranking up.
Yeah.
I think that's going to end up being a pretty good pick.
Yeah, and then you've got McCaffrey, Devontae Adams, and Marvin Harrison Jr. As your first three picks.
Yeah,
You're feeling good. Exactly. You're feeling good.
And then the other one I love is your pick. I swear this guy gets crapped on every single year.
Disrespected.
He does. Every year he gets disrespected. And from what I saw, he looked great.
Yep. He's just going to give you 1,000 yards.
Yep, and 8 touchdowns probably, something like that. So I love that pick.
Yeah, we lost Ty again. Sorry, Ty. I'm going to try the Wi-Fi calling while we continue to move. Travis Kelce goes in round 3. Given, some people said that there was a decline last year. Did you think that? And is Kelce in round 3 a good pick for Huey?
I mean, yes, of course. He's a good round 3 pick. Is there decline? I don't know if there's decline, or is there there's a lot of decent weapons in Kansas City now. They added Xavier Worthy. I mean, it's a good pick. Maybe it won't be as dominating as it used to be with him.
Sure.
But it's still going to be better than 95% of the other tight ends in fantasy. So, it's hard to really kind of critique that one.
Yeah, you want to get that guy, because tight ends dry up so fast.
Right.
Those first 3-4 tight ends go off the board, and then you're just left wondering.
Yeah, you got exactly. You're taking a flyer on a bunch of guys. You don't know what they're going to do, and then just picking around. If you look at, and again, it's easy to say it after a week and one game in, but. What do you like James Cook, right? That doesn't look like that was too shabby of a pick.
That's not too shabby of a pick. No, absolutely. So round 3 went Marvin Harrison Jr., Mike Evans, Travis Kelce, Nico Collins 4, Isaiah Pacheco, Drake London, Cooper Kupp, Travis Etienne Jr. at 8, James Cook at 9, and Rashad White pulling in at 10. Springfield Rifle get James Cook at 9.
Yeah.
And if this last game that he played was any indicator, that could be like if you call our 3rd round pick a steal. He's going to get some sneaky points from James Cook.
Yep. I agree. Totally. And then I'll slide over to round 4. I'm going to say this. I think you and I may have had some good steals from what I've seen. Again, it's week 1.
Yeah, it's hard after week 1.
Mixon looked great, and I was very happy when I saw Seattle giving Kenneth Walker the ball. So if you and I get a kind of a tier 1A running back in round 4, I know we're both happy with that.
Yeah, definitely. Mixon made me really happy. Yep. And Deebo Samuel in round 4, I didn't think he was going to last that long, to be honest with you. There was a lot of hype right before the draft, and Huey swoops in there at 8 and picks him in round 4.
I don't know how that guy's going to survive the whole season. When they put him in at running back, I'm amazed he gets up half the time.
I agree.
He takes some hits.
I agree. What scared people away from Devon Achane that he goes round 4, pick 5 to the Soarin Eagles?
I know for me what it was. I mean, Mozart's still there.
Yeah.
And I think I just see him with his frame, and he's already got dinged up. And that's what I was worried about, that he's going to have a hard time staying healthy because he's just not a big guy at all.
Yeah.
So that really is the only thing that scared me, the speed. So, it's a really good pick, though, for the Soarin Eagles, if you ask me, for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And they're going to be running the ball a lot because they're going to have Skylar Thompson at QB.
Yeah, well, now, right?
We'll talk about that later.
That looks amazing now.
Good Lord. So now we're going to get into the later rounds. Once we start hitting rounds 5 and 6, things start to tumble downhill. Any picks in 5 or 6 that you saw that really stood out as, wow, that's a good job of drafting right there?
Yeah, I think, if I'm just trying to think the one that I thought, the rifle taking Diggs. I think Diggs is going to get his touchdowns, like he always does. I'm biased. I like my Devontae Smith one in round 5.
Yeah.
He's Mike Evans like in my mind, where I don't know, he always seems to get undervalued.
I think Devonta Smith was one of the most disrespected players in drafts across, everyone's doing their mocks, etc. But I think he could outperform A.J. Brown this year.
Definitely. I could see that as well. And, then you go to round 6, and I was skeptical maybe with Aaron Jones, but that might end up being a really nice pick by the Beans.
I agree.
He had a good first week, so kudos. Now, the one I'm very concerned about is what I saw to Mark Andrews versus Lively, that tight end.
Yeah.
Did we witness a changing of the guard? Maybe?
I'm not sure. Like there was.
Right, it's early.
There was.
to say that.
I don't want to go too much into the coming week, but I can tell you that I put an $8 bid for Isaiah Likely, and I got blown out of the water. Soarin Eagles swooped in with a $61 bid.
Wow.
And all I was thinking was, is Mark Andrews? Is he done? Like what is happening here?
$61.
$61 bid.
Wow.
I thought I was going a little high at 8.
I think I went 11. So
Right, yeah.
61.
Yes, that's difficult.
Hey, good for the Soarin Eagles.
Yeah,
They saw someone they wanted.
They were aggressive. They're the champs, so
Yeah.
they're doing their thing. I'm trying to get Wi-Fi calling going for Ty. It's not working out. Ty, just hold on for me for a second. I'm not sure that this is going to work, but there's all kinds of information that I have to put in here. But so yeah, I think that the Mark Andrews in round 6, and then Isaiah Likely becomes the such coveted player after week 1 that might be a little bit of an overreaction. We'll see.
Yeah, and then I think from what I heard with Stevenson, Ramonde, people worried about the Patriots line, which still could be, but I mean, he looked really good. They were giving him.
He did.
Yeah, so
they fed him.
That's the key. That's what I like. Yeah. So yeah, that one could work out pretty well. Hopefully.
All right, let's go into. We're going to go into round 7 and 8. You guys aren't seeing this on the screen, but you all that are watching, for the most part, were participating in this draft. Chris Godwin comes off the top of round 7. Njoku, Deontay Johnson, Joe Burrow, Dalton Kincaid, Jackson Smith, Nigba, Amari Cooper, Dak Prescott, George Kittle, and DeAndre Swift. That's your round 7.
Round 7 could be the worst right now.
That's a pretty
overreaction week 1.
Yeah.
Godwin actually, I stand corrected. Godwin had a nice week in the
good
second
week,
half.
yep.
So that might be the one that I would say good for worst team ever. Again, another guy. It seems like the Tampa receivers always go late, and Baker Mayfield looks like he found a home. I guarantee Cleveland wish they had Baker Mayfield right now.
Yes.
Than Deshaun Watson that they got.
Watson is a trainer.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And Mayfield looks like that guy that brought him to the playoffs.
Absolutely.
I like him. I think he looks good.
Yeah, I agree. The Godwin pick in round 7 is a good pick.
Yep.
Especially when it's bracketed with Tank Dell. So those are 2 good receivers. Round 8, we had Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen going in round 8. Zamir White, James Conner, David Montgomery, Javonte Adams. It's running back runtime. Brian Robinson Jr., Kyle Pitts, Christian Kirk, and Kyler Murray.
So White and Conner, I think those were really good picks. White, they fed him the ball quite a bit.
Yeah.
And again, James Conner, everybody's waiting for the wheels to fall off on him, but nope. Yeah. He had a touchdown. He still looked like James Conner.
I had some sort of a thing, even in mocks. I had a hard time drafting James Conner. I don't know what's happening there, but that was hard.
So I think those were really 2 good value picks. We'll see Javonte Williams. He was quite a disappointment.
Yeah.
Good for them. Oh.
All right, Ty's back on the line. Ty, we're deep into round 8. Hopefully the Wi-Fi calling is on, and you can stay with us. We were actually just talking about your 6 and 7 picks, Tank Dell and Chris Godwin. If you can hear us, this is round 6 and 7 now. We're getting deep. Were you so very happy with the value you got in those 2 picks?
Yeah, loud and clear this time, so I think it's going to work out here. But Chris Godwin said I think him and Mike Evans, both of them tend to fall, and they probably deserve to go a little bit higher. So Godwin might be making his way to my starting lineup this week, depending on a couple of things. And then Tank Bell, too. Again, just want a piece of that high-power offense, so I think he could potentially have a pretty good season.
Yeah, I agree. Heading into round 9, now we're starting to pick up players that are stashes. You got Jalen Warren, Devin Singletary, Austin Eckler, Brock Bowers, Jordan Love, Tajay Spears, Jaden Reed, Ladd McConkey, Tony Pollard, and Xavier Worthy. Right now, well, that Xavier Worthy pick
that's
in round
the only
9.
one that stands out to me as like that could end up being like the pick of the draft potentially. Again, early on, but just the fact that they were using them and finding creative ways to use them.
Absolutely.
I think the Beans are probably going to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, it's only week 1, but it sure looks good so far. And you know what? I screwed up in terms of sound quality. I apologize for those of you that have heard the buzzing in the background. We forgot to turn off the dehumidifier. So yeah, just in case you thought we were transmitting from the airport, no, that's not the case. Well, I apologize. Brings us to round 10. Raheem Mostert goes off in round 10, pick 1. I talked about Devon Achane. They both had great point-wise years last year.
Yeah.
Was this a fall? Was this a steal for the Beans?
Yeah, I think because when you go back and look at it, Mostert's actually was the number 1 on the depth chart.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Absolutely.
to get a really good back that's the starter on round 10, I mean that's a really, really nice pick.
Yeah.
And then as much as I don't love Najee, but they definitely were giving him the ball way more than you drafted the other guy.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Ty, you picked up Jalen Warren. Were you disappointed in how much they were using Najee Harris last week?
So I was a little bit more concerned about because Jalen Warren was typically, the passing down guy or third down back, but they were throwing in Cordell Patterson instead of Jalen Warren. I was like, I had that game on, it was one of the couple I was watching, and I was like shocked. He really didn't get anything until almost like the fourth quarter.
Ouch.
Yeah, that hurts. You always forget Cordell Patterson. He's a talented guy. He just kind of tends to float around, and then when he gets in there, he gets his points. So we'll see. I don't know that Cordero Patterson keeps Jalen Warren off the field over the course of the year. This is 1 week, so we'll see. Now, let's talk about round 11 and the relevance of this pick. Worst team ever goes running back. Zach Moss coming out of round 10. And then Jordan Mason in round 11.
Took the handcuff.
For a handcuff, Ty, round 11, not 14 or 15, you swung for a fence there. Were you that concerned with McCaffrey, or is this just what looks so far to be a great value pick?
Or were you concerned about me knowing I was probably going to take Jordan Mason?
Oh, inside information.
No,
Okay.
I hate giving away a little bit of what I do, but typically when I pick a premium running back, let's be real, they're the ones most likely to get injured. I always take their handcuff, especially with a premium guy, and move them up 2 rounds. It's as simple as that.
All right, yeah,
I have to get that. I have to get that guy. That's
And it's a good thing it did, because that's about where I've targeted Mason in my other draft. So it's a really good thing it did.
You got away with one there, and that paid off in week 1. Because I don't see where there was a drop off in points. What you were going to get fantasy wise. Jordan Mason had a great game.
He looked amazing.
He didn't give up a point.
No, not at all.
That's impressive. The end of this round 11, but the Beans go Nick Chubb. Concern?
I think for what he's picked before, I think that's a good flyer for him. I saw no reason why not to stash him.
Super talented player.
Exactly. And as when Tyler and I were driving now, I told him, like Chubb, there's a guy that knows how to recover from knee injuries. And at the draft I was, saying, he reminded me a lot of like Frank Gore. Gore flew out his knee like a million times. Right. And then he played till he was like 100 years old.
Yes, he did.
So, certain guys know how to deal with it and know how to, get back from it. And I think Chubb's just like that. So
absolutely.
I think it'd be quite serviceable.
Absolutely. Round 12, pick 1. Justin Tucker comes off the
I won't talk about kickers no matter what.
Ty, round 12, pick 1. Too early for a kicker?
I guess if he's your guy, but hey, I'll never badmouth someone taking a kicker that early just because it means more value drops to me at a later position.
Yeah, and it's Tucker. So if you might pick one, I mean, that's probably the best guy that you would pick.
All right, joining us on the line.
29 points last week. So
there you go.
Yeah, right.
You never know.
The current champs are joining us on the line. Owner of Soarin Eagles, Jordan, is on the line. Jordan, how are you tonight?
I'm doing great. How are you? Can you hear me fine?
I can hear you loud and clear. That's good. That's good.
Amazing.
We're working our way through the draft. We're in round 12. We were just talking about the Beans picking up Justin Tucker. Your thoughts on a kicker, pick 1, round 12?
I mean, once it gets to like round 10, you gotta expect the Beans to go after Tucker. That seems like a staple on his team. I'm pretty sure he had last year.
That's a good point.
That is a good point. Yep. Jordan, TJ Hawkinson was your round 12 pick. Is this you're just stashing and hoping to get good things later? Explain that pick to me.
Yeah, I mean, round 12, right? If you're at that point, guy you can put on your IR slot and pick somebody up off waivers. I think TJ Hawkinson is as good as any bet that you're taking in round 12.
I have to agree. It's such slim pickings as we're getting down this list right now.
But Ty, I'll say this, based on week 1, last year Zeke with the Pats, he was a good plug-in guy on bye weeks because he would score touchdowns. I think Ty might have landed. Yeah. I think he might be that same guy.
And
so
people were talking about that heading into drafts. That Zeke may be back. Like this may be like a resurgence year, and he didn't do anything to disprove that.
I mean, he looked good. They fed him the ball, so I wouldn't say I would start him on a week to week, but like I said, that's a nice. When you got a bye week and you got to plug somebody in.
Absolutely. Yep. Zeke is looking good. So Ty, you go Zeke, and then you go Jamison Williams. Jamison Williams, I would have taken him next. You left me with Jacoby Myers. I think that Jamison Williams, is going to have a great year. Ty, tell me about your thought process behind that pick.
Yeah, no, I said I think he's had a rough start to his career, just with injuries, and I think he had a suspension thrown in there too.
Yep.
But hey, if it could be this year, breakout. I mean, it's a pretty high-powered offense with that on the draw. Takes a lot of the coverage from those number 1 cornerbacks. He gets a lot of shadow coverage, so sometimes those number 2 guys can really be a good threat.
Yeah. I mean, I look at that and I can't believe I didn't pick him. I had him on every single fantasy team last year, and yet I don't think I got him in any league this year. So I love that pick, honestly.
Yeah, it's a good pick.
I just think with that offense, he's going to get his looks, and a lot of those looks are going to be 20-plus yard type of targets. So, yeah. I think that's going to end up being a pretty good pick.
We move through round 13. Jamison Williams is the first pick in that round. Jacoby Myers goes next. Joshua Palmer. Harrison Butker, you grab your kicker in round 13 after Justin Tucker comes off the board the round before.
Yeah, I mean, Butker, he's going to get his points. I figured at that, I felt pretty good on who I had already. I said, why not grab a kicker?
Yep. Romeo Dobbs is next. In the 6th pick, Soarin Eagles take Mike Williams. And we knew he was going to be banged up coming in, but boy, I love that pick if Aaron Rodgers is going to stay healthy.
And if he can play more than 2 snaps a game, which, I know they're easing him in.
I know. But I just think think he was probably happy to see the field.
You're right, definitely.
Jordan, just like TJ Hawkinson, is this a pick that you're looking at week 8 as opposed to weeks 1, 2, 3?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And, if Alan Lazard's going to catch 2 touchdowns, I think Mike Williams could do some damage down the stretch.
I have to agree. Definitely a difference in talent.
No argument from me on that. I mean, Lazard, he had that early drop, and I didn't think he was going to get another ball. So he's lucky he got some sent his way afterward.
Right. It's craziness. Finishing out that round, we go down. Kirk Cousins comes off the board. J.K. Dobbins goes to the Springfield Rifle. Round 13. This is a player that people thought was going to be a resurgent player, and he sure seems like do something there.
I mean, right? He had a great first week.
Yeah.
I think he is coming off a pretty serious injury. He did get caught. He had that 60-something run. He got, someone caught him from behind. So I don't know. Twice. Yeah. So I don't know if the burst is there, but I mean Harbaugh's going to run the ball. So. And it looks like he might surpass Gus the Bus, so that might be a pretty solid pick.
Yeah, for round 13.
But he'll get hurt at some point. I'm pretty convinced of that.
The Beans take Tua to finish out round 13. Tua should never play football again, in my opinion. That's enough for him. But I think we'll save that conversation for the week 1 discussion.
Yeah.
Or actually, that's week 2 now. So
I think Tua dove into DeMar Hamlin because he knew he was going to have to spend another season on the Beans. I think that's part of the decision making.
No. Oh, that's rough. Yeah. That's rough, but I kind of like it. That's what we do here. Let's see. I'm going to check the chat. Jordan is the only one that joined in, and we appreciate you being on. So let's keep plowing through the draft. So we had Tua going finishing out round 13. 14, we start to see these role players. Fryermuth comes out. You're hoping to get some sort of TE1-ish production. Rashid Shaheed, Brandon Aubrey, Ty Chandler. The Ravens D comes out. Jordan is, I believe, the first defense taken. Demario Douglas, Chuba Hubbard, Jaleel McLaughlin, Browns D, and Caleb Williams. It's time to start stocking up the bench and getting the lower part of the lineup. Walt, any picks in this round that stood out for you?
No.
Yeah, it's hard.
It was, and again, I mean, you can't criticize anyone. You're just throwing darts at a board and hopefully.
Right.
So I would say the strongest pick was Jordan picking the Ravens.
Yeah.
D, probably
Yeah.
in the middle. I mean,
what we've seen.
Well, Aubrey too, though, right? Because they marched him out. Like his range on kicks. Yeah. And if Dallas scores, I mean, that might be a good pick.
It has been a thing, and Ty, you tell me. It has been a thing in the last few years that there have been teams that are getting these 15 to 20 point performances out of defenses and kickers that are making the difference. Is this something that you thought about during draft strategy, or you think that other people are thinking about, like, maybe it is time to draft these people a little earlier?
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, there's a couple guys that, these like Ivory, one of them. I mean, he made a 66-yarder despite the timeout being called in the Cowboys-Browns game. But typically, when it goes to me just picking kicker, I'm trying to pick a guy who I think is going to be kicking in good weather for the majority of the season. So I went Moody out there in San Francisco, either that or a dome guy, something like that. Usually how I approach the position.
They can close the roof in Dallas, right?
That's why I said a guy with a big leg cut. Put on your listening ear.
All right, just making sure you understood the question.
All right, so true to that, as we go into round 15, worst team ever takes the 49ers D. They're kicking out there in California. Thielen comes off, and then the D's start to come off. Steelers D goes, Jets D goes.
Steal of the draft.
Yeah.
The Cowboys, which I picked the Jets over the Cowboys.
That's surprising.
I feel like I should let Brian kick me in the backside right now. And then the Cowboys have what, like 20-something.
Yeah,
and the Jets. Oh, man, yeah. I'm such an idiot.
Yeah. Jets had a tough draw in week 1.
True.
But yeah, that Cowboys D look good. Curtis Samuel comes off the board. Saints D, Dolphins D, Bengals D, Chiefs D. It's time for everyone to just fill out because ESPN don't let you get out without picking someone for every position. And then round 16, Gabe Davis goes off for wide receiver. Jake Elliott, the kicker. Jalen Polk, rookie for the Whopper Moppers out of New England. Zerline goes, Fairbairn goes, Young Ho Koo, who I think might be credited with starting this fantasy obsession with kickers after his performance 3-4 years ago. Brock Purdy.
I got my starting quarterback in round 16 because Burrow's on the bench right now.
Yes. Brock Purdy in round 16. Jordan, let me ask you about that pick. Brock Purdy, when you look at the fact that the 49ers are a team that people are picking to go all the way with talent like McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk may be disgruntled, but he's playing for a contract. Brock Purdy going in round 16 surprise you?
Not at all. I don't know what it is with BARFF, but I feel like BARFF is just anti-backup quarterbacks, and I'm guilty of that. I didn't pick a backup quarterback either, but you get a guy like Purdy in the 16th, and you just instantly cut your risk in half of having a guy in that position that can produce.
It's true, though. Don't get me. I'm no genius here, and I was thinking that because I really thought Burrow would be better in week 1 against the Patriots. But I will say right now, I'm glad I picked him because I already put Burrow on the bench. I got to see something out of him first.
I'd wait to see what happens in Cincinnati.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And like you said, the 49ers offense looked, 49er offense, like it looked really good. He's got a lot of weapons.
Yep.
So he may not have a 40-point week, but he's probably going to be near 20, a little over 20 most of the time.
Yeah, I would
right?
think so.
Yep.
Just by who his teammates
are. Right.
He's got to get
absolutely.
Closing out round 16, worst team ever goes with Jason Sanders. Again, I mentioned the 49ers D being the weather pick. That's incorrect. It was Jason Sanders that was the weather kick. Miami, it's beautiful down there. Good for a kicker. And so worst team ever sticks to his word, gets his guy. And so that closes out the 2024 draft. Jordan, of the draft, was there a pick that made you sit back, and it can be your own, and think that is a great pick for the position that it's in.
Can it be in hindsight?
It can absolutely.
Yeah,
be in
sure.
hindsight,
Why not?
yeah.
Rashee Rice. I think I got him in the 4th, and he got I don't know what, 50+% of the Chiefs' targets week 1.
Yeah.
That's exciting. I'm happy about that one.
Yeah, that is amazing. That was a round 5 pick for you, right in the middle there, just after Ayuk and ahead of Malik Neighbors. That no lineup took in round 5. So yeah, that's pretty good. Ty, same question to you. Was there a pick that made you sit back in this draft and go, "Damn, that's a good pick"? What's happening there?
So, Ty, that was Godwin, you said? Yeah. Okay. We kind of, you went.
Yeah,
We can hear you. You're on speaker, but yeah.
I just took him off. Jordan, can you go with some audio for a second?
Yeah, testing.
Oh, what happened here? Hold on.
Yeah.
Something happened. Yeah, you're there. We can hear you. It's just coming. It's coming through.
I do like both owners pick their own guy as the best pick.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Well, I'll go with you with that.
In hindsight, that Saquon pick, that could have been the biggest brain move of the draft.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's week 1.
It's week 1.
Yeah,
He looks good.
I agree.
he always looks good at certain times in a season. I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of reminds me last year of Swift too with the Eagles, right? And then at the end of the year,
I'm gonna have to wait a couple weeks because again, I said it earlier. I
Absolutely.
knew Saquon was gonna come out week 1 and blow up. There was just no way he wasn't.
Yep.
It's just, is he gonna hold together after 3 weeks?
Yep.
So
Agree.
We'll see. Yeah. Walt, same question for you.
yeah. So I said it earlier, and I still think Jameson Williamson, that could end up being the steal of the draft.
Yeah.
I think. Well, based on how late it was, so I'll say
Round 13.
Yeah, I mean that's where I'm going. If you can get someone like that looked that good, and I think will look that good for the rest of the season, that could end up being, in my mind, the steal of the draft.
Yeah, I agree. So that closes the book on the draft. If anyone took any shots of the draft setup at HQ, please send them to me. I didn't take a single photo, but it was a great night.
Yes,
We
it
had
was.
no one traveled less than 2 hours. Makes the commission's heart really huge to see everyone make the effort to come out for the draft. So that was it was a terrific turnout. Those that couldn't make it to HQ, we loved the participation as well. I thought that the night went pretty well, and that brought us into week 1 action. Well, we had a great bunch of games. Where do you want to start with week 1 action?
Yeah, let's talk about the knuckleheads getting out of the block really, fast this year. I mean, that's a big score for the knuckleheads.
Got to win. That should be the league note headline this week. Knuckleheads got to win. I think we lost Jordan. Hold on, let me see what's happening here. So there's no audio. What is happening here? What happened? Hold on. Ty, if you can weigh in if you're hearing anything on the broadcast, or were you just talking about the phone call? Because there was something definitely that went screwy with the phone call. I don't know what that could have been. But let's talk about this Knuckleheads versus Boston Beans. The Knuckleheads get a victory going over 140 points. They win 141.25 to 116.3 over the Beans, led by Patrick Mahomes. Well, how did you see this game going?
Well, it was close for sure, but then Monday night, when Moody went off, I mean, and then you had a really nice, I thought it was a really nice game at Brees Hall too, considering. So, it ended up not being that close of a game after all. I mean, you score 116 points, a lot of, times you'll win, but, you only got 5 out of DeAndre Swift, which wasn't great. I mean, I give Tony credit for starting Jamar Chase. I didn't do that in another league. And, unfortunately, the Bengals, I swear, maybe teams should not play their starters reverse that in preseason. They should start playing their stars because the Bengals, they look terrible. So Tony got. I don't blame him. He started Chase, but it just didn't pan out. But other than that, he had a good week. But you had a great week. So it's tough when you're going against someone who scores 140 points.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Mixon was a pleasant surprise. Tyler, Evan Ingram, 1.5 points. Is this an outlier, or is this something that we're going to see going forward? Jacksonville did not look good. It does. I don't understand what's happening here. Keep going. Oh, here we go.
It's everybody seems to like the bean supper. I'm not sure what Tony did to bring this upon himself.
All right, Jordan's joining us again. Jordan, can you hear us at all? Yeah, see, I don't know what happened to your audio. Like you and I. Try that again. What is happening here? It's making me a little nuts, I'm not going to lie. But let's keep going. Negative one for the Browns, D for the Knuckleheads. Thankfully didn't hurt us this time. That you don't really want to start a team that's playing the Dallas offense.
But that still was that was a little surprising that they put up so many points against them. I was shocked. I was expecting a much tighter game than that.
Yeah, and also we talked earlier, getting 26 points from a kicker, like he better be winning. Like that's been the trend. These teams that get big games from kickers and defenses end up winning, and so that's what happened for the Knuckleheads. Good for them, and we'll see if we can't get 2 wins this year. Where do you want to go next?
Let's see. I think the next one is me and Tyler, which I'll call a bit of a yawner. There was really nothing exciting about this game. I mean, Tyler's team, unfortunately, it just, I don't know. Ty, maybe you talked to it, but Harrison Jr. did nothing. Metcalf did nothing. Right.
Point. It's just one of those power outages. Luckily, it's week one. Got a long season ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it's nothing like what could you have really have done differently. And and I got a crap performance out of Burrow. He stunk up the place. The Jets, -1, same thing. So the bright spot, like I said, was Kenneth Walker for me with his 19 points.
Yeah.
However, I see a D by him now, which is a little concerning.
Yeah, and Jesse just picked up his backup on the fly.
That's what, you know what? That's fine. This ain't a McCaffrey, Jordan Mason situation. You're going to have them all you want. I'm not sweating that one out.
Jordan, Ramondre Stevenson's performance last week was pretty noteworthy as New England surprised Cincinnati. Is this a player that you're going to see top 10 back this year, or was this an outlier performance at 22 points?
I mean, that's an outlier performance. Ramondre's trash. This is not
trash?
Saquon.
Man.
Saquon had one good week, and then talk about Ramondre continuing this. This is easy matchup. The Bengals were banged up. They're also trash, and I think Ramondre was struggling.
There's always one owner Ramondre plays well for every year. That's PTR, baby.
He has found a home with
PTR.
Ty, I don't like to ask owners about strategy moving forward, but I am going to point out that we've been talking about Jameson Williams several times on the show thus far. 26.4 points that he got for you this week, 16 points over expected. Is that an outlier? Does this player sit on your bench until you're convinced, or are you looking to make a move early?
No, I think he's a little bit banged up this week, so I think I'm probably going to opt for Godwin over him, just with that injury. But no, I mean, I'd be ready to plug him in if he's healthy.
Yeah.
And he continues to get those long targets. I have no problem throwing him down.
Good things coming in Detroit right now. There's no doubt this is going to be a good season for if you have Detroit players on your roster. It's looking good.
Let's talk about the defending champion. Tough week.
Opening season loss 114.7 to 108.0. Sody Pantloads takes out the Soarin Eagles. Sody Payloads was led by some good performances. Most importantly, Tyreek Hill, the number 1 draft pick, goes off for 28 points. Jordan, tell us about your game this week.
It's weird because, like, I feel like my team did good. CJ Stroud had a good game. Byron had a good game. H-Man had a good game. And then I just, like, people who aren't going to get judged all season and or will be seeing the bench soon just did that. Ferguson got hurt. Amon-Ra puts up 4. There's nothing to be done about that.
Right.
So I'm not overreacting.
It's not like you're not starting him. Exactly.
Yep.
But Drake London, no, that's someone to bring into question because the Atlanta.
In the doghouse.
Yeah, I would say so.
A lot of hype coming into this year. There was some hype last year, but now you're putting Kirk Cousins into the mix. Drake London was very loved pre-draft, and then he goes out, and that whole offense looked a little bit screwy. I'm concerned about all of them.
That offensive line looked horrible when they were passing. So
you don't want Kirk Cousins running for his life.
No, he throws interceptions like he did in that game.
Runs the 40 in October.
Yep.
It's not great.
Yeah, so I think, that's a tough one. I like, though, you're going to give up on him quickly because I feel the same way. Might be time to move on until he does something. First, I'm not sure what you're starting. Who are you starting in?
Montgomery.
Oh, okay.
Old Faithful.
That's right. Hey, this is a player that can score a touchdown for you.
Nothing wrong with David Montgomery, man. Solid player.
Jordan, I'm going to ask you about Jake Ferguson. We mentioned before you came on the air a little bit of waiver wire activity this week, and that I had put in an $8 bid for Isaiah Likely because Njoku got hurt, thinking, well, I'll take a shot. I'll go rough 8, and I don't want to get the number wrong. You put in a $61 bid for Isaiah Likely this week. Is that a total lack of faith in Ferguson's ability to recover? Tell us a little bit about that waiver wire pickup.
Yeah, well, I punted on the tight end position a little bit in the draft already. So Ferguson wasn't my first choice, but I still think he could have a good year.
Yeah.
But I mean, likely, I don't sleep on 12 targets. I think if you look at someone that rhymes with Shmukua last year, started with 12 targets with another alpha receiver on the team, it seems like it's a similar situation. They ran a lot of 2 tight end sets. I think Likely's going to get his this year.
Well, can they feed Mark Andrews and Isaiah?
I think so. That offense for sure. I don't see that being a problem. The Patriots, remember, and Aaron Hernandez before he killed people.
Yeah,
and and with Gronk, I mean, they ran 2 very effectively. So that could be a really good mix. Jordan, though. You didn't feel like $40 would have got him? I am just tell me why the very large amount of money for him.
I think the first couple of weeks are when you throw those big numbers out. I mean, if we look at the people who went crazy last year, it was Puka and Kyron.
Yeah.
Both, were somewhere in the realm of 30-40% of the free agent budget, and that's kind of what I threw out for Likely.
I'll stick up for you too. I completely agree with you. That's when you get your most value of the money you spend. So I have no issue with what you did. You like it, you got the guy, you spent the money. I have no problem with that.
I don't know if I like that endorsement, but thank you.
All right, screw you, Paul.
No, actually, I bid 11, so you would have needed at least 12 for that.
I think there were 6 claims put in for Isaiah Likely, but no one could come close to the $61, which isn't $150 for Jerome Ford that we saw last year.
Right.
But that's a good hard swing at the ball for sure.
If you get that many to put in on them, then I can't criticize Jordan. And there were other people that wanted them as well. So.
Yeah, especially the way you looked at week 1. And Mark Andrews has an injury history.
Yeah, definitely.
Could be a great pick. Let's look at no lineup needed taking on the Whopper Moppers.
That was
no lineup twice in the title game over the last couple of seasons, trying to get the no title teams on the board, and he comes up big in week 1, 147.05 to 114.55, taking out Whopper Moppers. Well, tell me about this game.
Well, I think there's one guy that pretty much, to me, it annoyed me how much the Rams were feeding Cooper Kupp the ball. And if you look at that, And actually, maybe we should go back to where that was drafted, Cooper Kupp. That could be the steal of the draft because, and now especially, it's easy to say that with Nakua out for a little while. But yeah, he really had a solid week from every single person on his team, and the Moppers. Again, Dallas scored a lot of points, but Dak didn't have a great statistical day. But overall, the Moppers, had a pretty good week as well. 114, it wasn't horrible. It's just, the guy scores 147. How many weeks are you going to win when your opponent scores 147?
You're not. We've all felt that pain. Quarterback almost goes for 30, and then he's got a wide receiver over 30. You lose that game.
It's exactly. Defense gets 15. You're just, those things are hard to overcome.
Right. I will say one thing that the Whopper Moppers did buck a trend, 21 points from Brandon Aubrey, and not enough.
Yeah.
So that's
right.
That's
usually
you're having a bad week.
Very good point. Very good point.
Tyler, concerned with Dak Prescott after week 1?
Even as a Cowboys fan, I'm not a huge Dak guy to begin with. I think they overpaid him at QB. It always seems to happen. He'll have big weeks, and then he'll just, crap the bed there. And I feel like a lot of his points, when he has those big weeks, often come in garbage time too, and the Cowboys are getting blown out. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of him as a QB of my team or as a fantasy QB.
Jordan, Jaden Reed goes 35 points on the bench for no lineup this week. They didn't need him because they won big, but does he find his way into the lineup if we consider the injury to Jordan Love in there? Is this a player that's going to crack this lineup?
I personally would leave Reed on the bench until Love's back. I don't think he's super reliant on quarterback play, but I think he's very reliant on the team moving the ball, and I don't know how well they're going to do that without Jordan Love.
Yeah, I totally agree. Reed, based on last year, I forgot, he ran off the last 6 or 7 games of the season, he scored a touchdown, and he scored another one. Yeah. So, with Love out for a while, I wouldn't start him. I just don't wait and see. You got him, in my mind.
Yeah, I agree.
So no line, look at that. They got him on the bench.
This is a good-looking team.
It's a good-looking team.
Yeah, we'll see.
But what they say, always a bridesmaid, never the bride. So that's unfortunate.
All right, let's talk about the week's high score. It's a Civil War game. Huey Lewis and the News taking on Springfield Rifle, and Huey Lewis puts up the week's high score, 147.4, taking out Springfield Rifle with ones across the board, 111.1 in the loss. Anthony Richardson, 30 points. Is this?
That's nonsense. That's what I'm going to say with that. That's absolute nonsense. Hey, I give Huey, of course, every year his draft, I always tend to be a little more critical on Huey, and here we go. Week 1, he throws a week high out there. He had really good play. Barkley. If Barkley's like that, unlike, even though you think maybe that's not the case, but if he is, he was going to be solid because, he's got all their, But again, Kamara had 22. I'm a little skeptical on Kamara. He started Deontay Johnson, which that's pretty good. He scored 147 with Deontay Johnson in his lineup.
That's hard.
Yeah. So, good week. Disrespected his father by, just obliterating him. But, the Rifles got a good team, too. It was unfortunate Nakoa went out when he did. He was getting balls. We did say with Andrews, though. So, here's my only question is, I don't love the idea of flexing a tight end with another tight end. I know in certain scenarios,
I got people excited when we changed the rules.
Yeah, but I questioned that when I saw that when he put that in his lineup.
And we talked about tight ends earlier that if you don't get those top 3 or 4 guys, then you're kind of just throwing darts. Well, Mark Andrews and George Kittle are 2 of those top 3 or 4 guys. He starts them both and he gets 11.4 points combined.
Yeah, and Jordan, you can tell us a lot about Kittle. What it is riding that roller coaster, right?
Oh yeah, he's like a roll guy. He's not a pass catcher first.
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Very, very true.
Which is how everyone treats him coming into draft season. Yeah. George Kittle, I think, is probably the most consistently overvalued pick in drafts over at least the last 4 or 5 years that I've seen. Everyone goes hard with him as like the 3rd or 2nd tight end off the board. And then you get these weeks where he's sub-10.
Yeah.
Got to score touchdowns in order to get you points.
I mean, he's an amazing NFL tight end because he's like one of the best blocking tight ends that can actually catch. So, but fantasy-wise, so I did question that one a little. I thought that was an interesting start.
Yeah, but Ty, I'm looking at the Springfield Rifles bench, and he's got 18.4 points from Tony Pollard. He's got Jerome Ford pulling it at 18.9, a 23.9 game from J.K. Dobbins. This is just a matter of a little bit of roster management, and you've got a team that looks maybe a little bit like a juggernaut coming in the Springfield Rifle, not getting a lot of love coming out of the draft.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Said I do question the rostering of the two tight ends, as you guys had mentioned there. I think you're kind of eating up a roster spot, and we could have got more value out of a guy at that position, drafting wise. But yeah, I mean, if Tony Pollard is back to doing things that the Cowboys expected him to do, I think that was a really great.
Yeah, could be, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
The guy will get rid of those D. I think the guy's washed up.
Yeah, I couldn't have drafted the.
No.
That was one of my stay away.
Yeah, I just think, it's, I don't know about him.
Yeah, I agree. That was one of my definite stay aways.
Yep, definitely.
All right, so that is week one in the books. That's the draft.
Amazing.
Week one. It was an amazing week one, and so we want to talk about what we're going to do on the pod moving forward. And one of the things that we've brought up that we want to do the Blitz again, which is going to require the participation of all owners. And while you had brought up the survival pool that we need to start over the next couple of weeks, if you could explain that.
Yeah. So I think, and I'd like to start it. I guess we can wait one more week because we only have 10 teams and we got plenty of time. So let's not say this week, but the week after, what we'd want. So this is how it works. Everyone picks a team to win that week. Once you use that team, you can't pick them again. So by the end at week 10, you won't be picking. There'll be just one team left that you haven't picked. And if you win, you get to pick again the following week. If you lose, you're out. And since there's only 10 teams, there's a possibility that it'll tie.
Right.
But what we'll do then is the teams left will restart again.
Okay.
And we'll maybe have them, with the amount of time left, only pick like 5 or something like that. We'll figure that out if that ends up happening.
So you're saying that at the end of 9 weeks, some team is going to have to pick the knuckleheads.
Someone's got to have to pick the knuckleheads. And what would be the best if it's the knuckleheads have to pick themselves on that week? That would be even better. But yeah, so and what I would like to see when we do it, not of course for this week, but the following week, when people put in their pick, maybe just in the chat or something, just tell us why they went that way for that week.
All right, so we're going to do these picks in the text string.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Text string, I think. And we can talk about, maybe I'll throw out in the chat if we want to make it interesting, because I know there's many DK members in this league now that like a little action going. So, maybe we just make it, say maybe $5 a team and winner takes all type of thing, or something like that. But I'll throw something in the chat for that.
All right. So watch for that in the chat. That's a little bit of interesting side action that we'll have going on in BARFF this year. I like that. That'll keep it interesting. And I also want to blitz every owner this year. Someone will have to blitz me, and that's mostly because I want to use that graphic. That's a great graphic, and we should dust it off.
Yeah, and you never know what answers that will live on in infamy via the blitz.
We need some more answers.
I think we have the picture.
We do. It's just legendary. It's perfect.
Jimmy Plant is now a legitimate answer, so that
I don't disagree. I think you take either or. You have legitimized that answer.
Some say we're sooner made him more famous as Jimmy Plant.
I can't. You certainly made him more current in today's.
You know what the worst part is? I have to pause and think now when I think of those guys, because it's just ingrained in my head now.
Jordan, what do you think about this proposal for Survivor?
Know who the real person is. So.
That's a very good point.
That's a good point. Jordan, what do you think about the survival pool?
Oh, I'm excited for that. Yeah, and I love the idea of getting some action on it. I'm going to be throwing some shade, too. I can't wait to pick people against worst team ever and talk about why I made those picks.
This sounds like it's going to be really good. So, yeah, I love it. So we're excited for things with the pod. We are going to try to take the pod on the road. We're going to try to go and visit various owners.
Chucktown.
Go to
Here we
Chucktown.
go.
The only thing with the pod, like I've got us down to the point where we can take just about a minimum amount of gear and go almost anywhere but signal. Like what we learned tonight, like signal is going to have to be a thing. So if we end up at like a restaurant or something, we just have
good
to make
point.
sure
Yeah.
we have somewhere that we can get a good signal. But so owners, think about that as we're looking to go to you. What location we could have if you don't want it to be at your residence. Could we meet somewhere as long as we have a good signal and we don't mind occupying part of someone's establishment and looking a little funny, then let's do that. Let's have some fun this year.
Hey, maybe we get some rando. Come on.
We could.
Right.
We could. That could be a thing. Like, let's just try to get at each stop some
Pick some random.
Get them on the show. That would be pretty good.
I love it.
Yeah. That's pretty good. All right, guys. So that's the draft. That's week 1, and that's our plans moving forward for the future. We are already off and running season 5.
It'll go quick.
It's gonna go fast. So it's a little dry tonight. There wasn't a whole lot of graphic action on the pod. To be honest, I'm glad that things just basically worked the way that they did. So there's more to come. We renovated the bunker, and so we're trying to go do a little bit less of the digital, but there will be more screen action for people moving forward. This one was just try to get us on the air, and we're off and running. All right, Ty, thanks for coming in. It was great for your insight. We appreciate you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, Jordan, defending champs. We've got you represented what was left on the door. I caught that, and so that's a great graphic. We're going to have it up this year for the champs. It was great to have you on. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan.
Thank you.
Hey, Jordan, how did trivia go last night?
Terrible. Dry heaves are cheating, so there's nothing we can do about that. But we wanted to bring it home.
You guys think? Kyle told me he was going to go over there and call them out on their shit. It didn't happen.
I think we should have met him in the parking lot. They got away with one.
Oh man, I want to go back to Colorado just to go against them again.
I don't.
Oh yeah, there was some booze when they won.
They're bullshit.
All right, I love it. Let's see if I got any music to play for us on the way out, and I don't know if that's playing or not. And so we're just gonna say it's been a great show, and we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. Take care.
All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks. Bye.